One of the things that Nurse Chick did after we got into a relationship, we got exclusive. I didn't even have to ask her to do it. She immediately made all of her social media private. She immediately made her stuff private. Nowadays, we have a special social media account for Nurse Chick so that she can market her book, right? But even then, it's not thirst trap pictures of her online showing her massive tits, right? It's like we have a sort of an emoji type representation avatar of her, right? Where it's like a hot nurse with a hard eyes emoji, because that's what she looks like, really, with the hard eyes emoji. But she's not out there posting thirst traps trying to get validation from people, right? But if your wife's doing that and she's getting a bunch of likes from guys online and stuff like that, that's a huge red flag, brother. It's a huge red flag. And the thing is that they may be looking to fill a void that should be met inside the relationship. And just think, back in the 70s, hell, back in the 80s, we didn't have social media. We didn't have social media for people to be seeking external validation at this scale. But social media has made it so that literally dudes all around the world can fill your wife's validation cup, and she gets this sense of superiority, and she thinks that she has better options than she really does. And this is where hypergamy kicks in. It's kind of like this. Hypergamy kicks in when a woman is with a guy, right? And she's like, is this the best I could do? Is this the best I could do? That's hypergamy's eternal question. It's always asking, is this my best possible option? And women are hardwired for this. And so if she now has literally hundreds of thousands of options, even if they're not necessarily real because they're on the other side of the planet or whatever, her hindbrain is like, oh, look at all these options I have. Are any of these guys better than my husband or my boyfriend or whatever? And so she stops looking at you like you're her best possible option, and she starts looking to get validation from these other guys, and you fall by the wayside. That's a big problem with hypergamy. On the flip side, men, we're polygamous by nature, right? We want unlimited access to unlimited and that's why brawn, it rhymes with corn. I can't say it or I'll get demonetized. That's why corn is a problem for men, because it artificially scratches that polygamous itch for us. When we see millions, like we can have multiple tabs open and it's like we have a smorgasbord of punani to look at. Our hindbrains look at it like we're fulfilling that need, that sexual strategy by doing that. And so we stop looking at our wives like she's hot and like we want to bang her. And like that's why a lot of women who are married are in dead bedrooms. A lot of it's because their husbands are addicted to the corn, you know? It's like, well, honey, you got to do that thing that he likes, you know? Anyway, but going back to whamming and crapping on women, seeking attention from strangers erodes trust and intimacy. When outside approval matters more than your husband's approval, your marriage is on shaky ground, right? And then we have changing social norms. We have this concept that we're taught: equality in marriage versus polarity in marriage, right? It sounds good on paper, but it falls flat in reality, because the reason why is with the whole equal partnership thing is you're not really equal partners. Like it or not, someone's got to drive the car. Someone's got to have there's only one remote for the TV. Someone's got to be in charge. Okay. So what ends up happening is guys are taught the happy wife, happy life paradigm. So we think, okay, she's got to be our equal partner, but we're going to make her make all the decisions because we want her to be happy. Right? So guess who's really leading the relationship? She is. She's the one really leading it, and there is still no equality. Okay? And so what happens is if she starts leading it, that goes against her nature, and she starts resenting you because she thinks that you should be leading the relationship. Even if she believes in equality, she thinks that you should still be setting the tone and leading and making decisions and being assertive and all that kind of stuff. So when you're not doing that because you're trying to make her happy, it causes her to lose attraction, right? That's why in the red pill space, we don't talk about equality. It's nonsense. There's no equality in the sexual marketplace. We advocate for more of a captain executive officer dynamic where you are setting the tone and leading. She's still in a leadership role and you take her ideas under advisement, but otherwise you're making decisions, you're making plans, you're setting the tone, you're leading. And the thing is that since that's natural, that's nature, you're following nature's plan, women naturally relax into their feminine more and follow your lead. They're like, oh, this is great. I love this. I love I don't have to make decisions all the time. And even the most bossiest boss in the world doesn't want to be a bossy boss at home. She wants to come home and have you, like, she's been making thousands of decisions all day. It's exhausting for her. She doesn't like making decisions. Women don't even know what they want for dinner half the time. She wants to come home and relax into her feminine and hand the reins over to you and let you take over, right? Hold on. There we go. Fix the redness of my face. Okay. It's that white balance. So this sort of leads us into the betatization process, right? Which I talk about in my free ebook, She's Made You Weak. It's the top link in the description. If you guys haven't gotten it yet, grab that. It's free. But that leads us to the betatization process, right? Which is guys often fall into this process and they don't even realize it. So what is it? It's a 5-step process. It starts with testing. We call them tests, right? So if you don't realize that your wife is testing you, you won't know how to handle it. In fact, you'll handle it wrong and you'll fail the test. Okay. That causes an erosion of respect. And then she's going to start seeking communication, right? This is where women want you to be more vulnerable, be more emotionally available, talk to her, open up, right? And so a lot of guys don't know how to handle that either. And so they just sort of like wear their heart on their sleeves. She loses more respect for you. And then she starts putting you to work. This is where like your honey-do lists come from, chore play. But one good thing about this though is she'll also push you further in your career. So it's not always a bad thing, right? But she's going to really nag you to go for that promotion and all that kind of stuff, which is actually good for you. It's actually good to level up that way. And a lot of guys would stay where they're at comfortable if their wives didn't do that. So that's not necessarily a bad thing, okay? But you doing her honey-do lists and chore play and all that kind of stuff, the more you do that kind of stuff in the hopes of getting a cookie, right? Getting a sniff, the more respect she loses, right? So then that leads to self-determination. This is where you hear stuff like, I need space, or this isn't working out. And this is where usually where she either cheats on you or divorces you. Okay. That's the 5-step process. It's a well-documented process. I break it all down and She's Made You Weak. Okay. So why are men so confused and frustrated? Well, a lot of men feel like they're checking every box, being supportive, sensitive, agreeable, yet the relationship keeps getting colder. They think they're doing everything right because they're following society's guidelines. And they are, they are doing everything right according to what society wants, but it's not inducing that attraction that they need to maintain that long-term relationship. And so you guys have to understand that deferring every decision to your wife actually kills attraction. Women respect confidence and leadership. They don't want a passive husband. They don't want to be in charge. Even if they say they do, they don't, right? Like women, there's things that women say they want, things they think they want, then there's things that they actually respond to. We in this red pill space only care about what they respond to. They don't respond to you deferring to their authority. They don't. All right. And so some boss chick might be in the comments going, "Oh, that's not true. I love being in charge." And exception, not the rule. Okay. There might be a handful of chicks out there right there. It's probably like 3% of the population. All right. We're not talking to you. So because you're deferring to her and now you're trying to make her happy all the time, you start losing focus on your own goals and your own identity, and you start to become less appealing to her. Okay. When you put all of your energy into keeping the peace, you actually lose all the qualities she was drawn to in the first place. And she starts She starts digging in, starts emasculating you. It's just a whole process. It's all part of this betaization process. You start compromising core values just to avoid conflict or to keep her happy, and that all ends up backfiring. It breeds resentment. It slowly erases respect that holds that marriage together, right? If you're trying to keep the peace, bro, right? I'm picking my battles. She's losing respect for you. Okay. Now, I'm not saying you need to go in and start fighting with your girl all the time. There's ways to handle it. There's ways to handle that conflict in an effective manner from a position of authority that she'll actually respect, and actually it creates attraction. There's ways of doing that. So I'm not saying you have to fight at all. You can handle it in an appropriate way where you actually never have to fight. It's pretty miraculous. You want to know how to do that? You want to know how? Okay. Here's what nobody tells you, okay? If you think divorce is the answer, you need to know what's really on the other side of that decision, okay? Because I see it a lot of times. I see it a lot of the times in the comments. If she's doing this, you just need to divorce her, bro. Just dump her, bro. Right? Sounds easy on paper. It's really easy to say from the comment section, isn't it? It's really easy to say from the comment section. Not so easy when you're going through the meat grinder, though. Okay.
New episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Subscribe now.